Next, before we dive into our conversation, AOF is proud to support entrepreneurs through access to capital and educational opportunities like this webinar. And we are very grateful to our partners at Fifth Third Bank for sharing our commitment to small businesses. Before we dive in, I'm pleased to introduce Robert Brinkley from Fifth Third Bank, who will share a bit about the bank's commitment to the community. Thanks for being with us, Robert.
Absolutely. Glad to be here. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is, as Brittany mentioned, my name is Robert Brinkley, and I'm CRA Line of Business Development Manager at Fifth Third Bank. Thank you so much for joining us for today's webinar, Holiday Marketing and Prep on a Budget, Strategies for Small Business Owners. This is our second webinar of 2023 in partnership with the Accion Opportunity Fund. Accion Opportunity Fund and Fifth Third Bank share a common goal, and that's the pursuit of helping entrepreneurs overcome barriers to achieving business growth and scale. Whether you're doing that as a startup or a longtime entrepreneurial veteran, our team at Fifth Third and our resources are available to you every step of the way. Please visit our Business Resource Center at 53.com and let us help you meet your financial goals and assist you with smart financial solutions for both your personal and business needs. Thank you again so much for your time today, everyone. Back to you, Brittany.
Thank you, Robert. All right, I'm super excited to get us into these live speaker introductions and introduce you to the wonderful experts who are going to be taking us through our topics today. First, we have Daisha Elliott. Daisha has a successful track record of consulting on business development, strategic partnerships, and digital marketing for both growth stage and established companies. Her current role as local market manager for AOF bridges community and corporate partnerships and resources to small businesses. In addition to working in finance, Daisha has spent 10 years in media and tech. She was editor-in-chief of nationally distributed Be Your Own Success Story magazine and winner of the Celebration Bowl hackathon for her edtech company, BP7 app. Daisha's leadership in business development for early and growth stage businesses yielded opportunities for multinational expansion and brand partnerships. Her leadership and strategy has been demonstrated with international corporations like Acid Pro, Reebok, Cargill, just to name a few. She is the author of Hi, My Name Is, a marketing guide for entrepreneurs. Her thought leadership and business advising impact has been highlighted in NerdWallet, Black Enterprise, NBC, CBS, and more. She is alumna of Northern Kentucky University and Strayer University, as well as a current PhD student in the Whitney M. Young Jr. School of Social Work. Hi, Daisha.
Hello, hello. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course, so excited to have you today. Next, I'm excited to introduce Jacqueline Rogers. Backed by her 14 years of consumer packaged goods experience, Jacqueline Rogers founded Green Top Gifts with a purpose: to create products that represent what the holidays look like for Black and Brown families. Jacqueline and Green Top Gifts have been leading the charge of diversity in classic holiday imagery and have gone on to be recognized as one of the 2021 Google for Startups Black Founder Fund recipients, a 2021 FedEx Small Business Grant winner, and an NFLPA Playmaker. Since its launch, Green Top Gifts has received notable media attention from numerous outlets, including Essence, O, the Oprah Magazine, Good Housekeeping, and People. Jacqueline embarked on her entrepreneurial journey in order to add much needed diversity and representation to consumer goods. She uses CAU's motto daily: find a way or make one, as she continues to grow her company. Jacqueline holds a BA in Business Administration from Clark Atlanta University. She currently serves as a mentor for Atlanta Tech Stars, and she is married to Sean Rogers, and together they have an 8-year-old son, Kenneth, Elijah, and a 3-year-old daughter, Cameron Ellis. So great to have you, Jacqueline.
Happy to be here. 'Tis the season.
Yes, yes. Okay, we are going to jump into it. And I know y'all heard some of those big brands in our intros, so I really want you to soak up this information. These are folks who know their stuff. So we're going to jump in with the key question. I'm going to start with you, Jacqueline. Why is it so important to start prepping for the holidays early?
because if you don't, you will not enjoy the holidays and you'll be a Grinch come December. It really comes down to inventory planning, ordering to have it on time, having the images you need for your website or your social. And all of those things should be done far in advance to help you ease into the season with servicing your customers via online or in store or at holiday markets in a manner which you're serving them well and you can bring them joy. And I think the main part is the more prep, there's less room for error. And you can understand that everyone is looking for the same supplies and items that you're looking for. If it's bags or dough or flour or packing tape, waiting until the last minute leaves a lot of room for headaches. So the more prep that you can do in advance leaves less room for error and more room for sales.
I love that. We love more room for sales, and such an excellent point that everyone's going to be looking for similar items. So the earlier you start, the more likely you already be able to get your hands on those items. And Daisha, I'd love to ask you the same question.
Great things that Jacqueline pointed out. It's important to know that the competition is going to increase at this time. The holiday season is so busy, and you want to get ahead of your competitors and be able to capture the attention of your current and potential customers. You definitely want to make sure that you're starting, your marketing efforts early. Again, you want to make sure your customers understand why they've been your customers since day one. And for those who are new, right, to your products or your services, you want to make sure that you're one of their top choices. And then last but not least, allowing you and your team time to prepare early helps get ahead of those inventories and supplies. And I know we'll dive in deeper to that later in the discussion.
Yes, love that. I know, it's July, but as Jacqueline mentioned, Christmas in July, holidays in July, and thinking of those businesses as a consumer who I love. And as you mentioned, Daisha, reminding them why they should go back to you when it's time for them to do their holiday shopping. All right. So our next question, we want to get into kind of the nitty-gritty. So Jacqueline, I'd love to start with you. How do you recommend small businesses prepare their inventory and supplies to meet the surge in orders during the holiday season?
I'd say the devil's in the details here. You also want to look at, your prior year. What did you sell last year or the year before? And understand what your average order sales are, how many customers are coming to your site. I think that gives you a good base of where you're going to start for 2023. And looking at, okay, how many boxes, packing tape? Do I need UPS shipping labels? What supplies I need that you can get now so that you're not paying additional costs for, express shipping fees, and understanding also if you're ordering inventory, we import a lot of products. So I have to deal with freight, I have to deal with customs, I have to deal with the logistics at the ports. And if you've done anything in the past 5 years and you've imported product, you know how much of a nightmare that can be. And so preparation and early orders of inventory are so key to help alleviate some of that stress. And allow you to get your inventory early enough so that you can check it for any damages, make sure everything is in place and accounted for before it's time to start shipping it. And I think those are the things that can kind of help you get ahead of the holiday surge, because there's all the headaches that come with the holidays of customers looking for product. Everyone wants it immediate. So the more prep you can do ahead of the game, understanding and having the products batched, if customers normally order in bulks of 2 or 4, or they order a dozen, having those things prepped and in place will help you to be more prepared for the holiday surge during the holiday season.
Love that. So much great information. And I never even thought about building in a little bit of time in case something comes through and it's not up to your quality standards. You kind of giving yourself a little buffer. So that makes so much sense. Daisha, I would love to hear your thoughts on this.
In addition to analyzing that past data and looking at that forecast demand, so how is it that you can understand what you've done previously or what your competition has even done previously? And then where are you looking to understand what the demand for your product is going to be? So for instance, if your target market has went from Twitter to Threads, right? That's the latest and kind of social media platform, life and connection. You need to start looking on that platform for their conversations, their interests, building relationships with them. And also something else to consider, especially when it comes to anything inventory or storage, is, you know, how can you connect with your suppliers early? If you understand the kind of volume that you're going to be dealing with, the kind of delivery times that your folks are going to be expecting, how do you have those early conversations with where you get your packaging from, with where you're holding space for your products? And that way you're not trying to have those conversations last minute, and you can be able to deliver to your customers in a timely fashion.
Yes, so much great stuff there. And thank you for shouting out, Threads, and how there is a new platform, it seems like every other day, but it is key for your business to know where they're going to be going for info and where they're going to be shopping. So thank you for that, Daisha. And moving on, so what are some key marketing trends or strategies that small businesses should focus on to maximize their holiday season sales? And Daisha, I'd love to hear from you on this question.
Well, there's a few things that businesses can consider, and I've made up some kind of quick C's about it, right? So the first is consistency. So regardless of whether there's a website, however many social media platforms you're on, your email marketing, even if you have events or things where you're connecting with your customers offline, that branding, that messaging, those touch points and that experience needs to be seamless and consistent, because you don't want to confuse your customers about what they'll expect when they're experiencing your product. And then you want to look at customization. And so if you already have established customers that you're working with, you want to be able to leverage that customer data and be able to filter out or segment out how you can deliver personalized marketing messages to them. So for instance, if you are selling pet food or pet food affiliated products, right, the messages that you would say for your cat lovers should differ slightly from what you should say to your dog lovers, right? And everything in between. So that's where that comes in. Next, you want to look at collaboration. And so whether you're using influencers, micro-influencers, or even, you're getting your ambassadors or your brand affiliates from wherever, say it's a college or, wherever your target demographic is a part of. Again, that's where you're preparing early and aligning with them and helping them really understand your product, and you all agree to the terms of that engagement. Like, you'll need their support to help drive that traffic and to have that great experience. So if you're getting your ambassadors from Clark Atlanta University, you don't want to wait until December 1st. That's kind of like exam time, if you remember, Jacqueline. You want to be able to make sure that you're getting them earlier, and they're able to connect with your customers and know about your product beforehand. And definitely, again, so consistency, customization, and collaboration.
Love that. I love the 3 C's. Nice, easy to remember. And I'd love to open it up to Jacqueline. Do you have anything else to add here?
I love that what you shared. Collaboration is so key. I think a lot of times when you have a small brand, you look at people who have similar audiences as you. So I have a brand geared towards moms. They're buying celebratory products. So if you know someone that sells another set of products that are geared towards children and kids and moms, that's a great way to do a giveaway with them together, using their email audience, your email audience. So a lot of times for a lot of startup brands, we have to be scrappy. We don't have huge marketing budgets like other companies have, millions of dollars to throw at marketing efforts. So You have to use your audience and use your core customers that love and want to promote and share your brand for free. If you send them a few products or you tell them, can you talk about these cookies online, or can you talk about my bakery? It helps them to help get that content, and then you can use it on social, or you can use it on your website or in emails to share with other customers that user generated content. And I think one of the other great ways is local news. If you're able to garner some local news, for us, local news has always been better than national news. It's something about that 6 o'clock news channel. The local people watch it and they go right to your website, and we always see a huge spike. So there are some smaller ways that you can garner large press, and I think those are some of the ways you can do it.
Awesome. I love that. And I do see folks engaging in the chat with your questions. I love that. Please continue to do that, because we will address as many of them as possible when we get to the live Q&A. So much good content here. Let's move on to talk about, are there any creative and cost-effective marketing techniques that small business owners can employ to attract new customers during the holidays? Jacqueline, I'd love to hear from you first.
I'm sure I would say, kind of like what I mentioned earlier, if you know that there is a school or teachers or there are moms or an audience that you know, in exchange for a review, you could get them to sample your product or talk about it. I think that goes a long way. Seeing people actually using the product, as opposed to a lot of times when we have a new business, we're going to take pretty pictures of it and post it online. But I found when we actually have people engaging with the product, using it, showing it, how it works for them in their everyday life, people feel a connection to it, and they can understand, oh, this is how I could use it too. And then they're more likely to go online and buy. So I'm always for, if you're early on, using the audiences you have, looking at Facebook or looking at the user groups that you have, your kids' PTA, at school, or the soccer or the football team, or your church or your sorority or your fraternity or any business organizations. A lot of us have access to a lot of large groups, but as business owners, sometimes we are afraid to ask. And I think the biggest thing that I've learned in business is not being afraid to ask for help and saying, hey, would you mind doing this? And if they say no, okay, and you move on to the next thing. But a lot of times people are willing to help you get the word out as a small business owner, and they want to share because they love the product and they want to help you grow your business. So don't be afraid to ask. That's the biggest thing I would say.
Yes, I love that. And we have so many stories of business owners just asking and it changing the course of their business and the future of their business. So yes, the worst thing they can say is no. So I fully echo that. And then Daisha, I'd love to open it up to you to see if you had anything to add on this question as well.
I see a few questions in the chat, and I know we'll probably address those more in the future. And in addition to creative marketing strategies, there is not enough ways that you can make sure that you connect with your target customers. And those target customers will tell you exactly what's working, exactly what is, the solution that they're looking for. They'll tell you what they like. They'll tell you the experience and how comfortable are they, right? Going through maybe your website or your channels. I believe that Jacqueline mentioned the local news earlier, and why that method, local news, local markets, local associations or chambers or target groups that are having multiples of your target audience, that builds that intimate setting and that builds trust really quickly. And it gives you, as the business owner, not only a chance to sell yourself, because everything isn't necessarily just sell, and then it's a quick purchase, but you are building brand loyalty and you're getting an understanding of what you can do to position yourself better in the market.
Yes, love that. And I love how you mentioned it's not all about selling. It can be brand awareness and those connections. That's so key. All right, so for one of our last questions before we get into the live Q&A, like I said, I see all of those questions, continue to add them. We've allotted a lot of time so that we can dig into questions that are specific to your business. So we want to hear them. But before we get into that, I want to leave with one final piece of advice you would give someone who wants to set themselves up for a successful holiday season. Daisha, I'd love to start with you.
Sure. So we're going to go to the 3 S's on this one, right? So the first one is start early. We've been emphasizing throughout this whole webinar that by starting early, well in advance, you get ahead of the competition and you can get your processes and customers in place. The next thing is the setup, right? So make sure you're setting up those specific goals, those specific processes. And it's not just sales, it's, okay, how many people came to the website? What is our conversion rate? Did we decrease the amount of refunds? Did we decrease the amount of wait time? And then the second thing would be, simplicity, right? So that those processes that you have in place to deliver to your customer, or that those actionable items for what you set up on your calendar for any campaigns, it should be so simple that any team member outside of you should be able to activate on it. And if not, it may mean that you're going back to the drawing board, especially with being a smaller business. And I think Jacqueline alluded to this earlier. There's a scrappiness and a resourcefulness that you have. And so you want to be mindful if something is way too complicated to implement, this may not be your season to do it. So again, start, set up, simplify.
I love that you're hitting us with all the alliteration. I'm trying to drop those in the chat. So we've got the 3 C's, we've got the 3 S's. I love it. And Jacqueline, same question for you. What's a piece of advice you would give someone wanting to have a successful holiday season?
I think this is a really important part, and that's get to know your local team, your team of Amazon drivers that deliver your packing tape, your UPS driver who picks up your deliveries that are going, or your packages that are going out, your FedEx driver. You want to get to know the freight company that you use the most. Have a conversation. The postman, woman, you want to talk to those people now, build a relationship with them, because there's going to be a chance come December or November where you're going to tell UPS, hey, I need you to come 30 minutes later, or can you come now? I have a delivery. And if you've built a relationship with them, maybe if you've given them a bottle of water, or you just said, hey, how are you doing today? And you get to know your local support team that helps your business run, you're going to need them heavy come Q4. And I found that once I built this good, strong relationship with them, it's helped me in ways where I need something at the last minute, or can you hold the door for 5 more minutes? I'm on my way with this package, or I need to pick up the supplies. So if you work with if you're a wholesaler, or if you work with a restaurant and you have to pick up produce, knowing your suppliers and all the people that are integral to your business that you don't really touch every day, that are going to help you a lot in Q4. So that would be my advice. Get to know them now, know their names. If you can get their contact information, get that now, and really build a rapport with them.
I love that. Yes, getting to know them, because we all know things pop up during the holidays and we all need help. So just having that more personal relationship can really pay off. Love that. Okay. So we have some resources that I want to share with you. Like I mentioned, tomorrow there will be more resources in your inbox along with these. But we have some really great questions in the Q&A. So we're going to go ahead and jump into that. And as we go through these Q&A questions, please continue to ask them, because you have access to 2 experts right here on this call. So first question is, what are your thoughts on launching a brand new business at the holiday season versus an existing operating business preparing for holiday season sales? And I'd love to start with Daisha on this one.
I have some reservations about this. It's possible. However, I'm always going to recommend that there be some type of soft launch. even if that means, you have that intimate event, or that, you maybe have a database from when you were doing your customer discovery and they get early access. You want to work out the kinks that most folks experience during the holiday season. And if you haven't been slowly releasing or slowly testing out different either messaging or product to customer journey, you may run into some serious bottlenecks during the holiday. Now, again, you can reserve those holidays for, a quote unquote bigger launch, for, hey, this is the amazing sale or the amazing, surprise product, or whatever the case may be. But you want to, again, you want to be mindful that what we've been emphasizing throughout this whole webinar is the ability to prepare early, not just only prepare yourself, prepare your products, prepare your team, but it's also building those connection points, those connections with your allies, right? And Jacqueline mentioned your drivers, right? Your customers, and then of course your team as well. So I would definitely say, if you must have a big holiday launch, find ways to do smaller, intimate ones in the interim.
Excellent points. Doing that soft launch so that you have some data to go off of. That makes so much sense. And Jacqueline, did you have anything to add for this question?
Sure. I would say we launched our holiday business. We sold basically all holiday gift wrap the first year, and we launched in October of 2016. But now we're all inundated with emails. Everyone is selling everything. We get so many emails in our inbox every day. There's so much competition and so much noise. And without a large, viral clip or a huge blast of NBC News or a press to really get you and the audience in front of people, it can be difficult. It can be done, but you have to be extremely scrappy and work really hard at it, market it, and get it in front of people multiple times. I think people see things, 8 or 10 times before they actually make a purchase. So it's important to not wait until December 1, because you also have to think about the timelines, like the last day to ship product or to get it to them in person. When people buying products for the holidays is normally right after Thanksgiving. They start thinking about Christmas or other, holidays in December besides Christmas, excuse me. So I would say you want to get ahead of it as fast as you can and not wait until December 1st or Black Friday. And you also have to be mindful of the communication you do. If you're sending emails like through Klaviyo, sometimes it can take a while to increase your open rate and get in people's inboxes instead of their spam folders. And so I think you want to turn on the faucet earlier rather than right in Q4, so that you're building that relationship and that rapport with them. Even if you're just teasing what is to come, I think that helps.
Yes, such excellent points in there, in that, yeah, you want to make it easier for yourself when the holiday comes. And then we've gotten this question a couple of times. So the whole concept is starting early and making sure we're starting on time. But how early should we get started? When is the best time to prep for the upcoming holiday? So Jacqueline, I'd love to start with you, and then I'll kick it to Daisha.
It's year round. I'm working on Christmas 2024 right now, planograms and sets for a retailer. So I say that to say, if you're looking at retail stores, they're doing their buying typically in the spring of the year for December, because they want to get the product into their stores as early as, September, sometimes even earlier than that for holiday. If you're not looking at a mass retailer, you're looking at more independent stores. They buy typically in August at like the America's Mart or the Dallas Market trade shows. It's never the last minute. And if it is, they're looking to fill a void from someone who couldn't meet the demand or the supply or get the product on time. And so it's an early planning process, especially if you're doing any importing or you're getting any supplies from overseas. That can be 3 months of time. Plus, I like to give another 3 weeks of customs with production. So it's a far away advance. You can do it closer to the holidays, but then it comes in with cost of freight, air freight, or shipping. that just eat into your, your margins. And so I always err on as far in advance as you can. And there's always things that you can control. We ordered a container of clearance clause mugs for holiday 2022, and I didn't get them until February of 2023. So it's one of those things where, because the boat broke down in the Panama Canal, so there's some things that are not in your control, and there's a lot of things that are in your control. So the earlier you plan and prep and know what your factory's lead times are, you can also get better pricing. So I think it's better to err on early rather than when you think people are buying.
Makes so much sense. Just like kind of a continual rolling process. Makes sense. Daisha, anything to add to this?
I would add to the digital media and the campaign side. You could get away with planning your marketing strategy 3 months in ahead, but honestly, if you have at least 6 months of your marketing, and so that means what are you going to put across all your social medias? When does the email go out? And I know that we're having conversations about the big holiday season that is towards the end of the year, but many of us have many other kind of mini target focused holidays that maybe don't have such a big a splash as the holidays, but are still very relevant to our target customers. And so, is it best friend day, or is it, walk your dog day? Like, there are many holidays inside of that 1 year that, sure, you could put all of your energy and your focus into the big holiday season, but there are still other times where you can test and pilot, especially your marketing and where your audience is and your database and what's important to them throughout many other occasions.
Oh, I love that, Daisha. I was just thinking about one day, I got online, it was National Donut Day. And somehow that just meant I had to go get a donut. And as a consumer, it makes so much sense to me to, get excited about those little holidays. So having those as little mini testing or launches is so key. Okay, so we have a question about marketing products. So for business owners that don't have a large customer base, how should we market our products? And Daisha, I'd love to start with you.
I believe that you can test the market online, and you can reach out to your different local groups to get their buy-in. One tactical recommendation I would make to some of the businesses that we advise is, how do you get 10 customers a week? And I know, to some people that may seem like a really small number, but by having those smaller goals, you get those 10 customers, and then you ask them to recommend one other person that may be interested. Okay, so now that 10 turns into 20, and so on and so forth. And so a lot of times business owners, I feel like, make decisions based on kind of what they know about a product or what they like. People love giving their opinion for free. So get your product out there to the market that you're wanting to communicate with, whether that's online, whether that's in person, whether that's through some affinity group, and then figure out who else would like the product too, and get them to help make that warm connection. So you not only have the folks that you just interacted with, but then you can get the trust and the warm connection to that next set of customers.
Ooh, that makes so much sense. I love that. And Jacqueline, anything to add to this question?
I love the ones Daisha shared. I also would say, if you have a resale product and you're trying to get in an independent store or a small store in your town or in your area, going in and just say, hey, I've got 5 of these items. I'd love to know if you're looking at products. Do you have anything that fits in the space? Doesn't like you do or you don't. I'd love to just drop off 5, see how they sell, and I'll come back in a month or in 2 weeks and just get your feedback and see if it's something you'd be interested in bringing to your stores. There are a lot of ways you can just don't be afraid to just ask. You may get a no, you may get a loud no, but don't let that stop you. Go to the next store, go to the next location. If you've got a product that you could leave at a dental office and the office staff could try, or they could have it at the front desk while people are sitting in the wait room. Finding a captive audience, and while they have nothing else to do but look at it or review it, is always a great way to garner new customers. If you're doing a trade show or an event, you can say, I'm giving away a gift card if you give me your email address. I see a lot of questions about social media. If social media ends tomorrow, you've lost those customers. So how do you get those emails? Emails are king, and use those to get into their inbox and sell to them and talk to them and educate them on your products. So I always err on the side of doing your best to get emails instead of followers and likes.
Oh, yes, love that. That's such a good point. Emails are something that you can control. So cool. Okay, so this is a question about one of the biggest holiday shopping days here in the US. It's should small businesses participate in Black Friday sale when it's not necessarily in our best interest because we can't keep up with the big brands? And what are some potential workarounds? Daisha, I'd love to start with you.
Make Black Friday work for your business. And so it may not necessarily be that you're offering deep discounts, but you still want to be mindful that there will be people who will be online, who will be shopping. So, how is it that you're going to jump at their inbox? And you can even allude to the fact that behind the hype, some of those businesses aren't even necessarily giving deep discounts, but we made it such a cultural phenomenon and thing, right? We created this kind of psychological fear of missing out, and you as a small business can use that to your advantage in your messaging and in the fact that you should have more of an intimate relationship with your customers at this stage anyways.
Nice, love that. And Jacqueline, what about you?
I would agree. We've seen that so much this week from Prime Day, where it's like, is this really a sale, or are they just telling me they knocked $2 off? So I say all that to say is you don't give away the house just to say you participate in Black Friday. If it's not good for business and for your margins, you don't have to do it. Early on for Black Friday, I would just give away a free printable for kids for coloring. And I was able to capture an email address from a mom. Did we get a ton of them? No. But I also realized I couldn't afford to do buy one, get one 50% off or 50% off all of our inventory like major retailers were doing. You can give away 2 experiences in your city or your town, or a tour, or, come in, you get half off, bring a friend. Get creative about what your Black Friday deal is. It doesn't have to be it's all free or it's all on sale. You can also do it the day before. You can do Cyber Monday. You can do Small Business Saturday, where they support you and other local businesses. Or you send out an email and say, for Black Friday, I'm highlighting businesses in our community that are having sales. And then maybe those stores or businesses will highlight you later. You're building camaraderie. Get creative about it. Don't feel like you have to just give everything away. Use it as a day to capture emails. If you have a product you're trying to get rid of because you have too much of it, you can do a discount on that, but don't feel like everything in the whole store has to be on sale. Use it to your advantage and think about how you can garner new customers, create buzz or interest without, giving everything away.
Oh, I love that. So many good points. And yeah, is it on sale? When you mentioned that Amazon thing, that hit hard. I was like, is it really on sale? But the FOMO is real. Okay, this one's for Daisha. Can you repeat the 3 C's?
Sure. So you have consistency, right? So that's consistency across all your messaging, all your brands, anywhere, place that your customer is going to interact. You have customization. That is, you are going to customize those messages, those products, those interactions, those different tailorings to that specific client. And then last but not least, you have collaboration. So in order to either draw in a bigger audience, have a better experience getting your product out, or even just having more folks be the eyes and ears and mouth to your brand, you're going to be working with your affiliates, your influencers, your vendors, your suppliers, in order to make the best product experience and get others to know about what you have going on.
Awesome. And I went ahead and dropped that in the chat as well. We have a really great question about email campaigns. So what's the earliest that someone should start an email campaign, and how often up until the holidays? So Jacqueline, I'd love to start with you.
So as a consumer, I hate emails. I'm always unsubscribing. And so as a business owner, I had so much reservation about sending emails out. I'm being very honest here, right? So I was like, I don't want to email them. But if you've ever signed up for an email from Old Navy or Children's Place, they will email you 8 times in one day. So don't be afraid to send emails. I wouldn't go on 8, but I would say you can send up to 2 or 3 a week. Bath and Body Works, yes, they will send you so many emails. And so I think it's important for us to find out what our cadence is, what can we keep up, because it's consistency, and what value are you giving in that email? Are you just saying you have a sale? Or are you giving them a recipe to go with your spices that you sell? Or are you showing them how to style the shirt when they buy the shirt? I think it's so much more than just an email with, hey, this is on sale, or hey, buy my product, but you want them to open the email and feel like they're gaining some knowledge or a recipe or a use or a quote or something from that email. And so I feel like once you figure out a formula to it and you keep it consistent, it will help you. If you have like a list of ideas, for me, it was, okay, I want to send an email about how to wrap it, how to store it, best supplies, where to store the supplies, where to pick up the supplies. And then you can just expound upon that strategy. So that would be my advice. But I think that the main thing is consistent. If you send an email at Tuesday at 2 o'clock, you want to send one every Tuesday at 2 o'clock or every other Tuesday at 2 o'clock.
Yes, I love the fact that you mentioned that having some other value in the email, because that is so key. And Daisha, anything to add here?
Also consider having those emails that are integral to the actual product purchase or product consideration. And so oftentimes you'll have to make sure that your website has something in place if somebody forgets to check out of the cart, right? And I love those emails. They're like, wait, you had thought about these shoes. They're still waiting for you. They're in your right size, right? So, it's little things like that where, maybe they haven't been sold or they got distracted. Again, you're pulling them back in. There's a term, it's called drip feed. And, they usually use it for e-commerce learning, but the same applies here. And basically that means you'll have scheduled things that'll pop up at certain times and at certain places. And so you want to make sure you have those engagements, no matter where your customer is throughout their different shopping experience.
Yes, I love that. The abandoned cart gets me too every time. So this question is about newer businesses who don't have a lot of sales just yet. How do you know how much inventory to buy? And I'd love to start with Jacqueline for this one.
This is a tricky subject because it's something that you need to be mindful of. Is it a seasonal product? Is a product that can be stored? Does it have an expiration date? And how much of this can I have on hand and be comfortable with having on hand before it starts to, I'm losing money. I don't like to have a ton of inventory that just sits. So for me, I would err on ordering less and having this is a drop, this is the sale, get it while it's here, supplies last. Sometimes even telling them the number you have of the inventory, the quantity, so they can see the scarcity of it, as opposed to you ordering 500, 10,000, 100,000 because you get better margins on it and you're stuck with the inventory. And especially as a new business, until you really understand your customer and know what they're looking for, they may say, oh, well, I like that, but I need it in a travel size, or I like that, but it's too big to fit in my car. And then you have all this excess inventory and no usage for it. So I would err on less is more. And then you can say we sold out, we're going to reorder, but then you have sold all of the product, you made your money back, and then you are prepared for the next season, as opposed to being stuck with a garage, a storage unit, or a warehouse full of inventory.
Yes, and that inventory countdown, that gets me. I'm like, there's only 3 left. I'm gonna need that. No, there's so many excellent points. Stacia, what about you?
Pre-sales are your friend. Like, let's figure out how to get as many pre-sales as possible so you can start to get an understanding of what you should have on hand. And so it's going to be important to build up the excitement. Like Jacqueline mentioned, let people know how many are on demand, or how, you could even put how many do you need to put out for you to know that this should be a product that's ongoing. And so by creating that demand early and requiring for your customers to step up and lock in. I remember Clark had a special shoe that came out. It was like, we only have so many that are going to be purchased. But when I tell you, we were all waiting for the time and the day when they were going to, release, and it was like a lottery ticket to get it. And as small business owners, we have the ability to build that much excitement and anticipation, for that special time or that special certain set of products that you're trying to move.
Oh, that makes so much sense. I love that. Okay, we have a question here about threads. Should I try threads for my business? And if so, how should I use it? And Stacia, I'll start with you.
So I've been on threads just from a personal account, and even just kind of seeing what it looks like from a small business account. I would say that because the platform is new, folks are really being their most authentic self. There's not as many bots. And so this is a win for you to be socially intrusive. And what I mean by that is you can scour, you can go to the magnifying glass and look up any keywords that are related to your business and see where those particular people are kind of leaning or what they're talking about. So again, you can start to understand more about your target market. But I'll be honest, that even the bigger brands that are really winning on threads, and by winning, I mean the replies and the ability to stand out, is your Wendy's, your ESPN. And what they're doing on there is using their wit and their charm. So threads is the competitor to Twitter. And what they have that's different is it's easier to have threads or connectable thoughts to the original post. But then because it is in competition with Twitter, Twitter was for your thought leaders and your really wordsy folks. And now, you have this platform that has kind of less controversy with the leadership at hand, and there's less commercialism with all the the people wanting to verify who they are. So if you're going to go on threads, make sure that your profile is clean and people clearly understand like what you're involved with. But this is really where you as the business owner, or you as the social media manager for your team, can just really authentically build relationships with the affiliate groups, with those influencer groups, and then start to build camaraderie with them on their fresh platform.
Ooh, I love all those details, and what a great point about threads being new, and so there being a lot of opportunity in that. I really like that. And Jacqueline, anything to add here?
I would definitely say that threads is, like you said, it's a conversation. It's not really a place to go and sell your product. It's more to talk about, use it as a survey type, lead a conversation, a funny, witty, as you mentioned, conversation around a part of your product or a thing that you service or things you don't like, or like, what's the worst service you've ever received. You're going to get a lot of responses, right? And you're going to find out what people like and don't like. So use it more of as a poll or a survey from people and understanding as a conversation and not so much as a place to go and sell and market your product, but building conversation. I think it will eventually get to that where people are marketing and promoting their product, but now it seems to be a place of conversations, polls, and opinions. I think if you go into it with that in mind for your business, I think you can glean a lot from it.
Oh, I love that. So many great questions in the chat and so many great reflections and pieces of advice from our experts. I want to thank everyone for joining us today, for getting prepared, hopefully more for the holidays. I want to thank our partner, Fifth Third Bank, for their partnership in these webinars. And I definitely want to thank Daisha and Jacqueline for their thoughtful responses and all of their expertise. This webinar is recorded. It will be in your inbox tomorrow. And we thank each and every one of you for attending and hope you feel more prepared for the holidays. Thanks, everyone.